Just let me know how you got started with the Ohio F.A.C.E team and interested in that.
Okay. Well, I can go back to, um, I got involved with cancer in the fire service. My career job was with the Cincinnati Airport Fire Department. So I spent a little over 20 years there. And obviously a lot what we did there are involved with the AFFF phone, the gear that we wore, the stuff that we burned. We had a really high rate of guys getting sick. Out of those of us that have retired, we're at about 50% of the people that have retired have had some kind of, whether it could be cancer, it could be, had guys have some real exotic diseases. We had a guy that lost all of the contractibility of his heart from his heart muscle, was attacked from something, they really don't know why, to we had a guy that passed away from non-alcoholic cirrhosis of the liver, just odd stuff. So that was kind of a concern. And then after I got here in Glendale, one of the guys that was actually one of our firemen, but when he was a young kid, he was an explorer for me at my previous department. So he was like, I worked with his dad, who was a fireman. It was like a little brother to me. He passed away, and that was probably the big emphasis for me that we got to do something. We just have to. Happened to be at a conference up in Wisconsin, and the people from the Florida Firefighters Safety and Health Collaborative presented. Really, that started off as being just about clean cab and what the benefits of that were. And so I reached out to the guys that were presenting there, and that's how I got connected in with the Florida group, and found out that there was a lot more involved with that. So we actually got them to come here to Ohio to do some training for us. And it just became one thing after another, and that's how I got to thought, well, we really need to do something here in Ohio. So with the guidance of the Florida group, we decided to start a program here in Ohio. So started here in Southwest Ohio, and we're still kind of regionalized to the Southwest quadrant, from Columbus down here to Cincinnati, over to Dayton. Just really about training and getting the information out, a place to be resource friendly with everybody. All the stuff we do is open for any department that wants to use it, anything we can provide. And it's connections, it's networking. So we started to network with the Firefighter Cancer Support Network. And it just has continued to grow from there.
Okay. And so uh what advice would you give? My department is currently, actually today they just sent out a survey about cancer initiatives. So we're trying to implement gross decon, it looks like, and they were asking, there's a questionnaire about, would you participate in gross decon? Would you wash your gear on a regular basis? Because of all the cultural things that are involved with the fire department and having dirty gear. I guess they're just trying to send out feelers for that, and then um, think they're trying to get extractors in different places around the districts and stuff like that to start doing a lot more of that, because we're not doing that right now in New Orleans. So what's some advice that you would have as far as like starting up that program, and then and like uh you know dealing with the cultural uh barriers that you have to deal with for that?
Well, I think you have a two-tiered effect of what you have to do. First, you have to get administration to approve and enforce it. But the key piece is getting company officers involved that want to be active with it. Gross decon is by far the easiest and simple step to do. And I've found that the guys that are older more seasoned, more time on the job, we can kind of convince the other people that that's the right thing. I think we get an understanding that most of us have been to enough funerals to figure out that, something's not right.
Yeah.
So making those changes with those guys isn't so bad. The new people, that's a piece of cake. They haven't had the chance yet to build up the negative attitude towards it. And
Hmm.
it's the guys that have 10, 12, 15 years or,
Yeah.
that's all crazy and we don't need that. And,
Yeah.
on and on. And they're just a hard group to change.
Yeah.
Uh, we've implemented here through our work, I guess, is at all of our, any place that's doing a basic firefighter program now, from when you first walk in the door, we start talking about decon. So
Okay.
you go out and you're going to do training, you're going to decon. You're going to go do something else, we're going to decon.
Okay.
We just make it that practice that that's just what we normally do, just like rolling hose or cleaning hose or washing trucks. Decon is a big part of what we can do to protect ourselves.
That makes sense. Like one of the things that I guess you could liken to that is when I came out of the academy, they had a rule where we're going to use or not hose straps, radio straps. So all the older guys hate the radio straps because since I was conditioned to do it, like it's easier for me to just get dressed out and wear a radio strap, and all the guys are just like, "How do you do that?" It's like I've never done it without a radio strap.
Yeah.
So that definitely makes sense.
I mean, the strongest thing to do is just continue to enforce. Not I don't want it to be
No,
punitive, but you have to put it out there that we're just going to do it. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
it's not. Some of the guys won't get as active with it that they should, but it's a start,
mm-hmm.
and they um, you just have to keep pushing. And kind of what we do around here, and we're outside of the city of Cincinnati, but Cincinnati's doing it now.
Okay.
And you go to a department like yours that's busy, and then you'll have the guys that'll come back and say, well, we're just too busy to do that.
Yeah,
Really? I mean, you think
yeah,
about it, and look at the departments that are out there that are doing it. FDNY, I believe, is still the #1 department.
yeah.
They're not the top department, they're in the top 3.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing it,
Yeah,
and they do
exactly.
more than anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So they found a way to make it work. Now, granted, they put a lot of money into their program. They bought vehicles now, and they're replacing gear on the scene, and it's a big program for them.
Mm-hmm.
Their rate of cancer was so high.
Yeah, yeah.
When they started looking in Cincinnati, Cincinnati currently they're running about 735 firemen on uniform firefighters, and they have 180 guys that have some sort of cancer. So
Oh wow.
giving them that opportunity to something to help reduce that, that's what we're doing. So Cincinnati's decon, gross decon on the scene. They're doing gear replacement. Their guys have 2 sets of gear, which, I mean, I'm a little guy here. We don't have the money to do that.
Yeah.
The benefit we were able to convince the Ohio Bureau of Workmen's Compensation. They were providing grants for departments to buy gear extractors,
Okay.
particulate hoods, and washable gloves. So that was, we took advantage of that program. That's how we ended up with an extractor here.
Okay. Yeah.
Every little step you can make.
Yeah.
We worked with, as far as gross decon, I don't know whether you have the board up companies down there, board up services that come out from private agencies.
No, we don't have those.
We convinced them that they need to help us out, and so they provided the 5-gallon buckets, and
Oh, cool.
they put their name on the side of it, and
Yeah.
a couple of brushes, and then we loaded up. We could put some Dawn dishwashing liquid in there, and some
Yeah.
brushes, and a piece of hose, and then the adapter for the side of the engine.
Yeah.
So you can hook up a 50-foot section of garden hose, and you don't need a lot of water to do
Yeah.
a decon.
Yeah.
We really don't want to use 1.5 inches and douse everybody so the inside of the gear gets wet.
Mm-hmm.
Garden hose and doing some training, that worked out pretty good. So
Cool.
we were able to put just about every department in this county now has gross decon equipment with them.
Okay.
So um, again, we're going to have departments that are going to walk away from it, but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's being on the scene, and it's kind of funny. They see me roll up on the scene, and we do automatic aid with everybody around us. So when they see me come up, it's like, oh, we're going to decon. Yep, yep, there you are.
That's good.
So yeah, you know, looked at sometimes, but you just gotta turn your cheek and do what you
Yeah.
gotta do.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's for everybody's. It's for the benefit of everyone.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you should be able to choose what dangers that you take, and with a lot of that stuff, they don't even realize that they're taking those or putting themselves in the way of those dangers and stuff like that just because of habit. Um, so the last question that I had for you, and I don't know if you can talk about it or not, but it was about I read through the case with 3M and DuPont and stuff like that, and I really I just wanted to know what inspired you to take the route that you did. You know, not necessarily you're not going for money, but instead you're trying to get that the baseline testing so that everyone from 77 on
Yeah.
can get the blood test to find out how much is in their body. What made you take that approach?
It's really over talking with that particular attorney, Rob a lot. Rob, for whatever reason, has taken this as a personal mission.
Okay.
And like Rob and I talked about early on, if we would have known back in the 70s and 80s what we were dealing with and the kind of problems that we were creating, we would have never done that. There's no way the fire service would have bit off on that.
Yeah.
Well, you know, somebody's got to be. If it was just a simple mistake, it'd be fine.
Yeah.
But then we found out, we didn't find out, Rob and his work through with DuPont was that they were aware of that in the early 80s and chose to not do anything about it, but bury that information and continue to sell the product.
Yeah.
That's where I had a concern. Like,
Yeah.
well, we didn't want to make it about the money. You know, it's about doing the right thing and getting our guys the kind of help they need to protect them.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big fight.
No. Yeah.
This
Definitely.
this if the actually get certified, I mean that's virtually everybody in the United States almost.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, that's, there's going to be some big numbers involved with that in the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah. Definitely.
Then you just saw the deal that just went through with the guys from Massachusetts and New York that have another lawsuit out about the turnout gear and the stuff in the turnout gear.
Mm-hmm.
So it's continuing to grow.
Yeah.
Um, and it's all steps to get it right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just felt like, and I told Rob from the very beginning, it's about what's going to help the guys down the road. I have a son that's on Cincinnati Fire, and I have two grandsons now that are just starting in the fire service. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, if I can do something better to protect them, that's what I'm going to do.
Exactly. Yeah. That makes sense. Um. Okay. One last question. So how do you feel about the NFPA's decision on the bunker gear to keep that the UV standard? Do you think anything's going to change with that? Have you spoke to anyone about that? Is there any movement on that?
It has to change. I mean,
Yeah.
when was the last time thermal liner was exposed to? Come
Yeah.
on, people.
Yeah. I mean that's
I mean, you wonder, common sense has to come into play here. That, you know, what's more important.
mm-hmm.
They have to do something different.
Yeah.
I think it's a cop out, and
Yeah.
most people in what we're doing feel the same way.
Yeah.
I told our people here that I'm not buying turnout gear. We usually we try to do a rotation with gear, and we want to replace it in less than 10 years. So every year I buy 7 sets. So over 10 years, I buy 70 sets. I've got 60 firemen here, and I keep everybody up to date in their gear. But I'm not going to put money out now if it's still the same products are out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
what upsets me is you see some of the manufacturers now are saying, well, we have PFAS free gear. Well, no, you don't.
No.
I mean, the outer liner, outer shell may be, but not the liner. It's still in the liner, and that's where Dr. Peasley up at Notre Dame has done so much work, and he's been a big asset in this thing. I mean, he is an expert. He's finding stuff in gear. He was finding more PFAS in new gear than he was old gear.
Yeah.
That was a shock. I was, for whatever reason, like whether I'm a pack rat or whatever, when I left the airport, I kept my gear. They gave it to us when we retired out, and sure enough, it's in my gear. Well, I would have expected that. We were at home all the time. So those are areas we got to address, and I believe we will. And I think that the nice thing is it's been kept here in Ohio, and they wouldn't. They tried to throw my suit in with the one down in South Carolina with the foam, and the judge up here said no, this is separate. The one in South Carolina is strictly on foam.
Yeah.
Then mine is more. It's all inclusive, foam, gear, whatever the case may be. It's all together, all lumped in. So hopefully it's something to come up with that. But gosh, we're going on 4 years now, so it runs its slow at a slow pace.
Yeah, I think that's their game. So
well, and then we had the IAFF was non-supportive in the beginning.
Yeah.
They like they weren't, but then you have to wonder if the I don't know, the funding coming in from companies like 3M and DuPont and how much of that was playing in the background that we would never find out about. But the IAFF has stepped away from that now, and now they're all sort of all on board. So that's a big key of it.
Yeah, that's a huge deal. Yeah, I think that'll be a huge part of us getting a lot of that done. I mean, it is good that our administration is behind doing the gross decon and stuff like that. But the fact that the IA, our local chapter 632 is behind it and stuff like that too does help. So, and it's good that didn't their attitude sort of change with the new president? If I'm not okay.
Yep. So I'm really happy with that. I mean, I was a union guy when I was with the airport. I'm not out here, obviously, but getting that support, that's a political power play.
Yeah, definitely.
The National Volunteer Fire Council has been on board for since the inception of it, really. So, and the volunteers are going to have more of a tough time doing it based on what the firefighter's primary job is. I mean, if you're an auto mechanic working in a paint shop or something,
there's
you're going to have a tough time with that.
Yeah.
And does Louisiana have anything as far as cancer presumption laws in place yet?
We do have laws in place that where it's presumed that certain cancers are related to firefighting. So we do have that in place right now. So okay. I think that's the governor, John Bell Edwards. He actually did that. So that's good.
Yeah, that is good. And some of the states are running different. So like Florida was behind us in that particular role, and they looked at it. They became really restrictive of it's like guys that were smokers or dip coal or a skull or whatever, and they're going to have a harder time fighting that. They have to be tobacco free for 5 years.
Yeah. I think
kind of tough.
Yeah. I think the problem that they'll try to play with that here is, Louisiana is quote unquote cancer alley. Yep. So there's all the chemical plants and stuff like that. And so I'm sure that'll come into play at some point where they'll try to say that has something to do with it, groundwater or this, that, and the other. So I don't know, hopefully not, but.
And I think that the other thing that you'll see is, so like my airport here in town, I think that, like I said, we burned stuff that we should have never burned, and obviously the foam, and I can just about guarantee you that the groundwater is completely contaminated, especially around where we were at, the training ground, the fire station.
Yeah.
We literally flowed foam on a daily basis. One of our things is we had to test our foam, that we had the right mix of foam and water coming
Mm-hmm.
out coming out of the turret, and that was a daily thing. So you flowed, 50, 100 gallons of foam every day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It all went somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's I mean that's why that I mean that's why that's such an important the lawsuit that you're a part of is so important because I know that the idea started with firefighters, but all of us are sort of in that boat, and there's so much documentation. I mean, I've read because of this project that I've been doing, but reading all the documentation about like where they've like the information that they had versus like what they said to the public, and it's insane. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
When they're
So,
pulling PFAS out of the blood of the polar bears, that tells you something.
oh man, yeah,
So
yeah,
it's getting into the water, it's getting into the fish, it's making its progressions through the food chain, and
yeah.
ending up at the polar bears in the Arctic Circle. I mean,
Wow.
that's unreal. It gets spread that far.
Yeah, and then I read somewhere that the short chain, they're not like they don't stay in our bloodstream as long, but uh they are ending up in our food supply and stuff like that, and they don't know whether or not it's all new, so they have no idea, or they claim that they don't have any idea what's going on. So it seems like it's a band-aid. So I don't know. Yeah, but yeah,
Well, all I can say is I certainly hope that we're on the right path. I believe we are.
yeah,
This
definitely.
will take change. So the new
Yeah,
guys coming in are going to be, first of all, they'll be better protected, and they know they have the knowledge to work from, and knowledge is power.
yeah,
And the gear that they'll continue to work on, that's the next issue. And I got to believe that the foam thing is being resolved.
yeah,
What the heck we do with all this foam that's already out here?
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
we kept about 6,000 gallons of AFFF mix um, at our station. So,
Hmm.
well, who's going to get rid of that?
Yeah, exactly.
They're charging you a fortune to dispose of it, and then what do you do to dispose of it? I mean, it's got to be incinerated at some temperature to completely get rid of that. And
Yeah,
that's all money.
yeah, yeah. Oh boy. Well, I really appreciate what you're doing with that lawsuit, and also what you're doing with the Ohio Face team, and all those initiatives that you're doing. Um, I'm probably at a very soon time. I want to get involved with our program here as far as like our gross decon, and maybe starting an initiative in our state. So I'll probably be in touch with you soon with some of my captains and stuff like that. But I really appreciate your time, and thank you for talking to me, sir.
Sure, and you can check out our website, or you go to the Florida Firefighters Health and Safety Collaborative. They have, if you haven't already, a lot of data there.
Okay. I went through all of your website, but I'll go through the Florida one as well.
Okay.
Okay.
So anything you can do to help, and I know the Florida people are more than willing to help out any way they can.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Sure thing. If you need anything else, just you got my email and whatever, reach out.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, stay safe.
You too. Thanks.
All
Have a
right,
good
take
one.
care.